Welcome to the Faith Stories of Our Saviors. Today I'm lucky enough to sit down with Aleda Warta, or as my son calls her, Aleda. Aleda is super involved around the church. She helps count money, she teaches confirmation, she volunteers constantly, she helps with the quilts, she kind of does a little bit of everything. So I'm so excited to share with you what Aleda has shared about her faith. So Aleda, how do you serve God?
Well, I hope my daily life would be a service to God, and then I like to do things that help other people. I especially enjoy working with the youth and the kids. When I talk to different people and they tell me, or they say to me, "Oh, kids these days," I'd like to say to them, "Well, you don't know the kids I know then," because they do amazing things. And I'd like to think that maybe the amazing things they do, maybe I had a little input in there somewhere along the line to give them a little nudge in the right direction.
I know you have a lot to do with how good our kids are.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, with that, I know you've been teaching confirmation for a while. How'd you get into that?
I made a not very polite comment to Pastor Todd, and I apologized and said, "I'm really sorry, I didn't, and he said, "Well, good, because I have a favor to ask you." And so I started when Pastor Todd was here.
Okay.
And there again, I do it just because I enjoy the kids. And I think that they teach me more than I teach them. Mm-hmm. Because the thinking behind some of their questions just amazes me. And I'm oftentimes at a loss for an answer and say, "We're going to have to go check higher than me because I don't think I know the answer to that one." And they just are, they're very inquisitive about it, which I think is wonderful. And I think the more questions they have, the better it is. Because to have a question about something means you've had to been thinking about it.
Yeah.
And if they can say to me, "Well, I'm not so sure about that. Why?" Well, okay, let's find out why. Yeah. And if they have the reason why, then they can understand it better.
Well, and I always love that because your students will sometimes come and ask me the same questions that they've asked you. And I love it because most of the time my answer is the same as yours.
Oh,
I don't know. Let's wonder about it
Let's
together.
find out. Yeah, let's find out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really good expression of faith so that kids can see someone who's lived a faithful life in service to God is still wondering about these things, still questioning these things and learning. I think that's really good for those kids to see.
And learning is forever in your whole life of everything. And why should your faith stop when you're confirmed? It needs to go on. And so the farther they can dig into it, the better base they have to build on.
Absolutely. Nice. The next question I have, do you have a favorite memory about Christmas?
Okay. I love Christmas. But I think my favorite one was a number of years ago when Hunter Roloff signed this hymn we sang. And everybody in church, probably about half of us quit singing just to watch him and he was so natural in signing it, and it showed another understanding of the hymn and another way to praise God that everybody was just amazed at. He did such a wonderful job.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So many different gifts that we have that we can learn from.
That's for sure.
Nice. Well, the last question I have is about prayer. What does prayer mean to you?
Well, prayer used to be to me when I wanted something, when I needed something, or when I wasn't sure about something. And since then, and part of this came from helping with confirmation, is the understanding that prayer is just like a dialogue between God and I, or dialogue between God and I. And so now it's as simple as getting in the car and I'm going to drive someplace. I pray for safety to get there. Or for a walk, we'll be out walking and a prayer for thank you for the wonderful day or the beautiful sunshine or the flowers, or it's more just, I try and make it more of just a daily conversation or maybe just little prayers along the way. And I keep telling our confirmation students too, it's not something you have to do formal. It's not something you have to do to impress anybody else. And it doesn't have to be big, long words. It can be whatever you want to be. And if that's the way you normally speak to people, that's the way you can talk to God. And the more times you do it, the easier it gets to do. And praying out loud still is difficult. But people don't have to do that. You can. It's between you and God. You can do it anytime you want. I do still have to tell the confirmation kids, you can't not study for a test and go in and pray that you're going to get an A. You have to put your part to it. And if you don't get the A, maybe that's God's way of telling you, maybe you should have studied a little bit. So it's more, the way I look at it, it's more just a conversation.
That's wonderful. I love that. That's great. Well, Aleda, thank you for coming in and sharing part of your faith story, and thank you for all you do around this church. I know that you inspire a lot of faith in our youth, in my son, in me, and so thank you for everything you do.
Well, thank you. It's my home.